Hi everyone, welcome. So I'm making this brief video to supplement the information you've learned so far. At this point in the presentation, you're aware about the benefits of muscle contractions and movement and how it affects your mood and mental health. So we're going to go through some of the movements that was presented in the slides. So again, kind of going back to why we're even talking about this. Remember that our muscles are innervated or are attached by nerves. So these nerves from our brain or from our spinal cord attach to our muscles so that we can consciously or willfully make that muscle contract, right? And when it does that, it releases chemicals like acetylcholine or dopamine. Anyway, not to get too scientific about it, but when we release these chemicals, these actually improve our mood, particularly dopamine. It helps with mood function. And not acetylcholine, but actually, yes, acetylcholine helps with perception, so the way that we view things. So sometimes you might think of it as mental clarity. So acetylcholine along with dopamine are associated with muscle contraction, but also with some mental health functions or cognitive functions. So since we are in that brain and mobility theme, it's important to know that. So in the slide that you just learned, there are a couple of terms. So what is isometric contraction? Isometric contraction is when you don't shorten the joint. Here's my elbow joint, and here's my biceps and my triceps muscles. When I contract them, but I don't shorten the muscles continue to be long, and the angle of my joint does not change. So I still tense up the muscle, but I do not cause a flexion of the angle, right? So that is isometric. So a lot of like Kegels, for those of you who know what that is, I think most women know to strengthen your pelvic floor muscles, but it's also very good for guys. When you do a plank, so you're in a plank position, you engage your entire core, that is an isometric contraction. So again, this is isometric contraction. Isotonic contraction is when you're actually shortening the muscle. So I'm gonna decrease. Right now I have about a 180-degree angle to my elbow joint. If I were to flex the biceps brachii muscle here and pull it and shorten it, now you see my muscle shorten and the angle of my joint decrease. So that is called an isotonic contraction, right? So just so we know a little bit of the mechanics of what our muscles and our body does. The other thing that you've seen in the slide is isokinetic contractions. Isokinetic is when there is tension in the active phase, and there's also tension in the passive phase. So in this case, my whole arm, there's tension when I do this. So that's my bicep. And there's tension when I do this, which is my tricep. So this happens when we use what's called an isokinetic machine. So there's those basic differences that you can learn from here. Hope this was helpful for you.